Hi everyone, this is David, and welcome to week 6 of JWI 505, Business Communications. Here's a fact that not many psychologists or cognitive therapists will talk much about, and that is that most of the healing that takes place in these talk therapy sessions occurs solely through listening. That's right. It is clear that just the mere fact that a patient feels listened to and understood and sympathized with is enough to produce healing or even a cure. Here's a psychologist who will actually admit it. The quote is, "Attuned listening to the patient is the most important tool a therapist can have." Leon Hoffman, MD, Psychology Today, June 2014. Marriage counselors will quickly tell you that although finances are the number one cause of arguments in a marriage, it's communication that's the number one cause of divorce, especially the inability or unwillingness to listen to a spouse's point of view, hear it, and empathize with it. So it seems like that one of the built-in flaws of being a human is that it's a lot easier to talk than it is to listen. We certainly have practiced more with one than with the other. Now, this week, you're going to take a look at these listening and question-asking skills. Why? Because if they're so important in our most intimate relationships with ourselves, with our spouses, why would they be any less important in our workplace relationships? They aren't. One of the things that you're going to see and read about this week is Jack Welch's famed listening skills, where he really zeroes in with 100% concentration and focus on what someone is saying, and then brings home the magic, that magic that made him CEO of the century, and that is the ability to create a context in which he can ask questions and people feel safe to answer. Questions that are probing and bring out their creativity and their understanding. Questions that really stab right to the heart of the matter. And so those are the kinds of skills that you're going to be talking about and learning and even practicing a little bit this week. Let's take a look at them in your week 6 materials. So as you see, your 3 objectives for the week are: 1, to evaluate nonverbal delivery skills; 2, identify how to listen for values. Those are the values held by the other person. And 3, explain the importance of asking the right questions. Here are some of the materials that you're going to be looking at, and I want to point out some of the highlights of them. Here in this PDF is confirmation of what I was saying earlier. Listening and only listening, with no reply needed, no action taken, no solution suggested, can grow a relationship. Now, of course, that listening has to be accompanied by empathy. And it's that empathy that leads to understanding the other side. Down at the bottom of this PDF are 3 listening skills described by Irene Leonard. One is articulating. Psychologists call that paraphrasing, and that is, after listening to someone, you try to rephrase in your own words what you just heard, paraphrasing and articulating. And it's hearing that makes the speaker, the one you're listening to, feel truly understood. One psychologist's name is Theodore Reich, called it listening with the third ear. And that is, you listen beneath the words to the subtext. And your Halperin and Lubar text talk about subtext as used by actors. But listening with the third ear means understanding the emotions that are producing the words, understanding the values on which those emotions are based. Listening with the third ear and then paraphrasing it back. If my wife came home and said, "I cannot believe today, it was one thing after the other," It started with the car that did such and such. And then you wouldn't believe the accident down on the parkway. And then, and then, and then. And then after listening, a paraphrase might be, it sounds like to me that you had one of the most frustrating days of your life when you had really important things you wanted to get done. And she would say, yes, it was one of the most frustrating days of my life. Let me tell you more. And so it's that sense of I'm not trying to solve her problems. I'm not trying to move her on to the next discussion of things I want to talk about. I simply reflect back what I heard with the third ear, what emotions she was expressing, what values that were in play during her day. So I wanted to kind of pass that technique along to you. In your Munter and Hamilton book, Speaking Nonverbal Skills, that's an excellent chapter there that provides you some very specific advice on the nonverbal skills. And as we talked about earlier, 90% of our meaning whenever we're talking face to face with someone is conveyed not through our words, but through our nonverbal communication. Our body language, our gestures, our facial expressions, and especially our tone. 90%. The Halpern and Luber text, as I mentioned, on pages 109 through 113, has some very specific techniques about how to gain empathy or how to listen with empathy. This article on Want to Lead, Learn to Ask the Right Questions, contains an excellent video by Daniel Pink. Here's another Big Think video from the director of the Second City Improv Troupe, who have kind of made a business out of listening. You know, the key to acting is genuinely, authentically listening to what the other actor says and responding to it in a kind of authentic, of the moment way. And so in improv, that's especially important because there is no script. And what Second City has learned is that there's this whole world out there who lacks listening skills, and they've made kind of a business out of teaching listening skills in Chicago. Your Harvard review documents are excellent. On this one here, the first one, go right to the end. And at the end of it, you have an excellent list here of active listening response types. And I love how it categorizes the different kinds of responses. You're able to see, well, am I primarily responding in a directive way in my relationships, or am I responding in a non-directive way in my relationships? I think that's an excellent, excellent continuum there. Now, in this document, you're told to go to page 8, and on page 8, you will also find an excellent list about leadership and learning, the art of asking questions, and a great sidebar over on the right, how to sharpen your ability to ask questions. Now, your discussion this week, you have two options. Option number 1, you can describe a key relationship in your work world, that's a boss, client, colleague, direct report, or supplier, etc., that needs to be improved. Describe the ways you will become connected with that person in a conversation that you're going to have with them immediately. What authentically curious questions you're going to ask to practice your listening and empathy skills. You also have to say what are 1 to 3 strengths of the person that you will genuinely acknowledge during that conversation. And 3, what story about yourself will you share to show your personal humility, your vulnerability, or to define common ground? Either one of those 3. Your other option is probing questions. Describe a current situation in which you're either trying to move something forward or in which you disagree with a plan. And you want to identify 3 strategic questions that you can ask to both understand the opposing point of view and to bring to light alternative perspectives. Now, your initial response, as usual, is due by Wednesday. Your 2 peer responses due by Sunday. Now, when it comes to this assignment 2, I know we've talked about it a good bit already. It is due this Sunday. It is an important assignment, carries a lot of points. Good news, I did get permission from 3 past students to share their model papers with you, and I'll be sending those out. You might already have them by the time you're watching this video. Read those model papers closely. Ask yourself what they have in common in terms of how they analyze the assignment and how they went about answering the questions that you're asked about this case study. And you will have a kind of model on how to approach the assignment, both in terms of how to analyze it and also how to format your own paper when it comes to turning it in. Okay, so there you go on your week 6 assignments and materials. As usual, don't hesitate to contact me at any time if I can be of help during this important week 6.